Welcome to the We Choose to Live blog. My name is Symone, and I'm so excited that you decided to join me for part 3 in a very detailed series on maladaptive daydreaming. The We Choose to Live blog is a place where individuals who may struggle with depression, anxiety, or negative coping mechanisms like maladaptive daydreaming, but who decide that although that may be their struggle or even their diagnosis, that they refuse to wear it as a part of their identity or allow it to define them. We are a community of individuals that decide that, you know what, we choose to live in spite of our struggles. We want to be able to live life as fully engaged as we possibly can. And I created this blog to be able to share my story of my journey with all of these issues and about how I am still on that journey. And I just wanted to be able to share tips and strategies on how to be able to face these struggles and to deal with them on a daily basis that I've gotten from counseling and through research and through friends, through mentors, through prayer, through faith, meditation, and all of these type of things to be able to help me to live my life as fully as I can. And I want to be able to share that with other individuals who may be dealing with maladaptive daydreaming or depression or anxiety, but who say, you know what, I choose to live. I choose to put my hope in the fact that I can live a full and whole life, and to put my hope in the thought that there is healing for me, whether it's immediate or even if it's a progressive healing, even if it takes the rest of my life. I would rather be walking towards healing than sitting in my hurt. And so thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here with us. Once again, my name is Symone. And what we're doing today is that I've done a couple videos. So first I told my story about my experience with maladaptive daydreaming. And then in video 2, what we did was we did a deep dive into some of the symptoms of maladaptive daydreaming and then some ways that you can use to cope with it. And I gave you some of my experiences in there as well. But now what I want to do is I want to do a quick video. I'm going to do a quick video where I kind of talk to you a little bit about ways that maladaptive daydreaming affected my life. I learned about this in 2017, I believe. And at that time, there wasn't a lot of research on it. There was just a few people sharing their stories. And now it's like you can see a lot more people. There are forums, there are things going on, and there are more studies going on all over the world where they're interviewing people that struggle with maladaptive daydreaming because it's not yet recognized by the American Psychological Association. And so now that I've started to see more information that's out there, I wanted to just be able to say, okay, this has been my experience, and these are some of the ways that I am coping and some of the ways that I've learned to be able to live a more full life. But one of the things I wanted to touch on, though, is that because I struggled with it for so long, I would say all in all, I have probably struggled with maladaptive daydreaming for about, I'm literally I'm doing the math on a piece of paper. So sad. For about 25 years or more. And just did that on my own. But anyway, I wanted to just to be able to share that now looking back as I'm on my journey to healing, I'm able to look back and say, oh my gosh, this is how this affected my life. Like I knew even when I was in it that it wasn't, after a while, when I came to my point of realization, which if you look at my story, you'll know all about that. I started to realize, wait a minute, this isn't healthy for me. This isn't good. This feels wrong. You know, I started feeling convicted and whenever I would do it. And so then I started healing, and it wasn't an immediate thing, even though, you know, I love God and I have a relationship with him. And I thought, oh Lord, just come down and heal me, take it away. It did not work like that. It's a process. And I've had to work myself through this process. And it's a moment by moment and day by day type thing. I have to make consistent choices to stay in my healing and to stay moving forward. And but I wanted to be able to share some of the ways that I can tell you that it's affected me, it affected my life, affected my loved ones over the years, so that those of you that are struggling with it, and maybe you're in that position where I was at one point in time, where I was like, I don't really want to give this up because I like it. You know, sometimes when we get into those negative coping mechanisms, which can be kind of addictive in the way they are, whether it's for sex or even sometimes drugs, alcohol, pornography, checking out video games, television, all this kind of stuff. Some of those things can feel so addictive. you can honestly, people will be like, do you want help? I'm like, no, I'm good. Just leave me here, because you're not ready yet to be able to face it and to move forward. And so even though I was in that position at one time, now whenever I look back, I'm like, oh, wow, this has really impacted my life in multiple ways. And I don't want that to happen to other people. If you're in a place where, if you listen to this story, I would hope that you would be able to listen to it and go, oh, wait a minute, maybe I need to reevaluate this, and does this still need to be my safe place? So for me, I started Maladaptive Daydreaming around about 13. I'm just going to give you a really quick wrap up because I know some people might start on this video. I started Maladaptive Daydreaming about 13. What it is that you sometimes long, really intense, really immersive daydreams that that you fully immerse yourself in, whether it's mentally, emotionally, physically, all of those kind of things. And you can get lost in it for hours and sometimes for days. And for a lot of people, it is a safe place whenever the reality of what's happening into your life, it might be traumatic, it might be chaotic, it might be lonely, it might be a hurt or a hurtful place. And so it's a place where you can hide. And so it's a place that I created as a teenager that was struggling with bullying and rejection and loneliness. And so it was something that I did because in that place I had power. In that place I was able to create a story, a narrative, a movie in my mind that helped me to be able to cope. Where that in that place I won, in that place I was popular, in that place I knew the right things to say and the right things to do and the right ways to act, and I was always on top, and whereas in my life it wasn't necessarily that way. And so people from different people daydream about different things, but it was a place for me, what I thought was a safe place for me when I was young, to be able to cope with some of the chaos in my life. But then as I got older, just like a lot of things that everybody struggles with, it doesn't necessarily go away, it grows with you, and so it grew with me. So I found myself as an adult still in this place of whenever something, emotions happen, whenever something bad would happen at work, I want to go home and get in my bed so I can daydream, or I'm at work daydreaming, or I'm not really knowing how to process my emotions, process my feelings, and those kind of things. And so I would go into that place because it was safer. But then later on, after I got saved, after I gave my life to Christ, I started to realize that that wasn't good for me, that it wasn't healthy for me, and that it was, even though it was a safe place before, I no longer needed that safe place, because God spoke to my heart and during prayer and just said, my reality is better than your fantasy. And I think that was life-changing for me, because at that time I was like, prove it, but then after a while, he did just that. He began to prove that whenever I trust him with my life, when I begin to trust myself with the reality and being able to make different choices so I can begin to reshape my reality so it would be something that I would want to live in, that yes, my reality became better than my fantasy. But it was a process, guys, and it took a long time for me. But I would say that whenever I finally surrendered and just said, I can't do this by myself, I need your help. And I finally surrendered and started to really be obedient to some of the things that I had learned, to use some of the strategies and tips that I'm sharing with you. When I started actually applying that stuff to my life and taking action, then I started really seeing drastic change, because I submitted my life again to just say, God, I need your help. I can't do this alone. So I began to get that healing. So I've progressed, I would say, in like the last maybe 1.5 to 2 years, and at a pretty good rate, just because of me being willing to trust that part of my life to God. And so let me give you some ways that I feel like it affected me as somebody that has been dealing with it for so long. I'm not being fully engaged in life. That would be one of my number one things, not being fully engaged in life. Because if you're in your head, you're not really there. You're not at the dinner table. You're not at the work table, the boardroom table. You're not really in the car. You're not, you know what I'm saying? You're there physically, but your mind is somewhere else. So people are talking to you, and yeah, you might be having the conversation, but you're not going deep. You're not being able to go into depth into your answers, or even being fully engaged in your own thoughts, really being able to deeply think about how do you feel about stuff? What are your beliefs? What are your passions and all that? And what I found is that during this season of healing, what I found in my life, and mind you, I'm just giving you my experiences. You can eat the fish, spit out the bones, as my grandma used to say. But in my life, what I found was that there wasn't a lot of depth to me. So I was really surface, but there wasn't a lot of depth, because anytime that I had to think deeply, unless I was really focused on a project or focused on trying to solve a problem, then when I had to think deeply, I would check out. Why do that? Yeah, I'm gonna go over here and think about this and dream about this. This is fun. This is better. This is a better storyline over here. And so whenever, now that I'm going into my healing, that's something that now I'm having to work on. What do I really think about this? What do I really believe about this? Really being able to engage not only with other people, but with myself, and getting to know who I am. Not that person that I daydream about, not the girl that's got it all together and that's wonderful and fantastic and you know, the millionaire, the, you know, the boss, the perfect wife, the perfect mom, the perfect everything. No, not her, because she's not real. Me, the person that I am right now, the person that I love right now, I am my ideal self. And my ideal self is a woman that is continuously working towards building her life and getting better and getting stronger and healing. So now I'm having to learn how to engage and go deeper and do that deep thought into stuff, rather than checking out all the time. So that was one of the main things that I feel like maladaptive daydreaming, a way that it hurt me. Another way was losing or not engaging in relationships. Part of maladaptive daydreaming is that isolation is a really good thing. You want to be by yourself, so that way you can check out and you don't have to worry about people interrupting you. And so it tends to be something that's very, and then I can remember even times where my brother, or even when I got older, my son would interrupt my daydreams, and I would get frustrated. Because I'll be like, it's almost like if somebody comes in and interrupts a movie, a really good movie that you're really into, that's how you feel. And so sometimes I would get frustrated and be like, okay, what do you want? You know, that kind of stuff. And when I think back, even over, when I think about my baby, when I think about my child, right now he is just graduated from college. But whenever I think about him and I think about his childhood, I think about all the hours that I spent either daydreaming or just checking out, maybe into TV or books or something, because I didn't want to deal with my issues, that I could have spent with him, connecting to him, engaging with him, loving him, building him up as a young Black man, just being able to do all those kind of things. And I missed that. And so that's a part of something I feel like I lost. And then I'm going to give you something else as a next point that goes along with that. And I will tell you this, and I'm just going to put it out there because, you know, I believe that, you know, faith without works is dead, and that when you put something out there in hope, sometimes it happens. There's a doctor, his name is Dr. Daniel Amen. And he's absolutely amazing. He has the Amen clinics, and they actually do brain scans. And they, because a lot of times when you deal with stuff, you think that there's something wrong with me. It's a chemical imbalance, or you think that there's something wrong with me, that I'm just, and look up on YouTube ways that Dr. Amen and brain health has helped people. The testimonies are amazing, because there are people that think they're broken, but they go get a brain scan and realize, oh no, you got an injury. You remember that time you fell off the bench, you fell off the wall, that time they hit you with the baseball in the head and you were okay, all this kind of stuff. But then you come to find out that you actually damaged your brain, and that might be a part of the reasons why you make the decisions that you make, or that you struggle, or the reasons why you have a hard time being able to get over stuff. It's because there's something physically wrong with your brain. But usually when you go to a therapist, they're not looking at your brain. They're trying to figure out, help you to work through the stuff in your mind, but not necessarily looking at your physical brain. So it's interesting. So I love Daniel Amen, and one day I want to go and I want to get a brain scan, and I want to do this from the perspective of, I want to sit there and I'm going to let myself go deep into my daydream, because I want them to see what my brain is like during my daydreams compared to whenever I'm in a normal state. And I want to do that because I want to see how has it affected me. Because my number 3 on this list is that I have my son and I have my goddaughter, and they are both incredibly beautiful people in my life. And I've had a life that was full of amazing people, friends, families, colleagues, my church brothers and sisters, just all this kind of stuff. And I've had so many connections. But I have to tell you that I am still a young woman. But sometimes whenever I think back, there's things that I just don't remember. And what triggered this for me was that my goddaughter one day, she was like, don't you remember when we did this and this? Now, mind you, this child has the memory of an elephant, okay? So I don't really, you know, condemn myself too much because her memories are ridiculous. But anyway, she's asking me this about this, and I'm just looking at her, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And she's like, you don't remember that? We did this, this, and this, and you did this? And I'm just like, mm-mm. But I went home and I was like, why can't I remember that? That's such an important thing. That seems like something that I would have really locked in as one of those moments, right? And I know there's something with aging and losing your memory, but I'm not that old. But but let me just say this. And what came to my mind was this, is that I probably was there, but I wasn't really there. You see, if I was in the middle of a daydream, or if I was in that state, there's like a state for me where I'm trying to get whatever you need done so that I can get back to what I want to do. It's kind of like that. If I'm in that state, then I'm not fully present. So it makes me wonder, what did I miss? What memories have I forgotten? What memories have I lost because I wasn't really present and engaged in that moment? What beautiful experiences that I overlooked that could have been connections with other people and or life-changing interactions that I miss because I wasn't fully there. So that would be the second thing I would say, that, or that would be one. I don't know what number I'm on. I'm only on 3 and I'm already out of numbers. The next one would be loneliness and apathy. So loneliness is because, once again, it's all about isolation, being by yourself. Well, what happens is that people can only take so much. So let's be real. You can, if you have somebody that loves you and they're always trying to connect with you and this kind of stuff. And I mind you, I would do stuff and go places and all this kind of stuff. But at the same time, a lot of times I would be pulling away, but not really. Let's not focus on the relationship part. When I say loneliness, what I mean is that my maladaptive daydream would lead to me being lonely because I pulled myself away and now I'm isolated, and now I feel like there's nobody that I can talk to. And then worse than that, the apathy comes in that I would say if the American Psychological Association does name this, I would name this as an addiction. As someone that has lived with this for years, I would name it as an addiction. And the reason why is because once you get to a certain point in it, you don't want to get out and you stop caring. It's just like depression. There's a part of depression that you can get to where you're just like, I just don't care anymore. I don't care. Leave me alone. And you just want to isolate, right? And that is a part of the maladaptive daydreaming as well. You can get to the point where you're just like, I don't care. Leave me alone. Just let me stay here in my head and all these, and it can kind of push you into that place, that apathetic place of I prefer my daydream over whatever it is you're offering me. I prefer my daydreaming over my job, over my family, over my friends. I just want to be in this place. And it can really get you to that point, because once you get into it, it kind of builds and builds and builds, and it's hard to get out. That's one of the symptoms that they actually give out of the research that they've done on maladaptive daydream, is that you can get in so deep that it gets really hard to get out. And that's a part of that apathy. Another one would be procrastination. So what happens is, okay, let's say for instance, one of my triggers, one of the things I have to avoid is laying in the bed a long time in the morning. When my alarm goes off, I got to get up and I have to get moving. Or I have an alarm that goes off and it plays affirmations or a positive motivational thing, or I have an alarm that goes off and it plays like really high praise music that makes me, get up and start, thinking about stuff and all this kind of stuff. Because if I don't, and I allow myself to stay there for so long, I can actually get into the position where now next thing I know, I woke up at 7, it's 9, and I'm just laying in the bed thinking, right? Now, mind you, I might be thinking about stuff all across the world. I might not be into a movie mode, but you can daydream about anything, guys. You can look at a news article and go, oh, this is what I would have done, and then just go off into this whole thing about the news article or something along those lines. Or you could be thinking about something that maybe you're apprehensive about that day, that maybe you have a meeting. And so now you go into thinking about all the scenarios, daydreaming about all the scenarios that might happen in the meeting. So yes, this is stuff that most people do. Daydreaming is a big part of the human experience. And I think it's a gift from God. However, with maladaptive daydreaming is whenever it can go really deep, really long, all this kind of stuff. So that's something I have to watch out for. But when it comes to procrastination, and this is a cycle, and I'm going to say this because this is going to help somebody. So my cycle would be something along the lines of, I use daydreaming and procrastination as a great way to be able to sabotage my life. Ooh, now we're going to do a whole series on self-sabotage. That's coming later, because that is one of my passions right now, of really getting to the bottom of that and how that affects people. But let me give you an example. So if in my heart, because of the things I've been through and the stuff I haven't dealt with, I believe that I am not worthy of success, and you come to me and you offer me an amazing experience, or a job or project or something like that that I could do, that is going to, and you're like, oh, I know you can do this. I'm so excited. Your skill set is so awesome and all this kind of stuff. And you give me this opportunity. There's a part of my mind that goes, but I'm not worthy of that. So I'll accept it, and I'm excited about it, and I'm saying, God, help me. I want to be able to do this. Don't let me get caught up in the trap, right? But then what happens is I'm so afraid of it that my performance goes down, because I have the potential to be able to ace it, knock it out of the park, it's not a problem. But my performance struggles because I'm afraid. So I begin to self-sabotage it. Because if I sabotage it, then what happens is that if I sabotage it, then I have more control over my failure. If I sabotage it, then I'm going to disappoint you, but I'm in control over the disappointment, rather than me trying really hard, giving it 100%, and then I disappoint you, and then you're rejecting me because of that. So that's an issue, right? I haven't dealt with, that's the broken arm. If you watch my other video, that's the broken arm. Okay, so that's the issue. I haven't dealt with it. So I begin to sabotage it. How do you sabotage it? You sabotage it by procrastinating. The person says, okay, the deadline is on May 1st. So now you've got a whole 3 months to work on this project. I've got a whole 3 months to work on this project. The project is due on May 1st. But now I start doing things like, oh, all of a sudden I'm daydreaming more. So in, month 1, I might daydream for, I might go off and lose maybe around about 8 days. Month 2, I might lose about 15 days. Month 3, I'm still at 15, but now I'm at 15 full 24-hour days, that kind of thing. And so what's happening is that I'm putting it off so that I'm not fulfilling this project. So I'm procrastinating, but I'm using the maladaptive daydreaming to procrastinate. And so now what ends up happening is I don't meet that deadline. I sabotage the whole thing, and I'm losing out, right? And so I found that in my life, that sometimes when I'm nervous about something, I don't want to face something. If there's a problem that I don't really want to sit down and look at and face my struggle to be able to say, okay, this is a solution to this problem. Instead, I get afraid or I get anxious and I pull back. Then I'll start procrastinating, right? And a lot of times I'll use a maladaptive daydreaming as a way to procrastinate. Now, am I doing this consciously? No. In my mind, I just can't figure out, why am I so distracted? What's wrong? I'm being attacked. I'm going through all this stuff, right? But it's really a whole cycle. So then what happens is I miss the deadline. So let's go here, because some of you need to hear this. So then I missed the deadline. So then what do I feel? Guilt and shame. If you're Christian, condemnation, guilt, shame, and condemnation. I'm a horrible person. How could I do this? I can't believe I did this. I disappointed everybody. I'm apologizing. I'm trying to fix it. I'm doing all this kind of stuff. Now what ends up happening is I go further into this cycle, because I'm embarrassed, I'm humiliated because of my performance. I'm dealing with guilt and shame. Now I come back over here, and how do I deal with it? I don't have a positive way to deal with it. I haven't built up those positive coping mechanisms. So what do? You check out. I just apologized to everybody in the boardroom, told them that I was sorry, all this kind of stuff. Then I go home, and rather than me going home finding solutions, rather than me going home and praying and saying, Lord, help me to do better, rather than me going home and calling my therapist, I might do that. Call my therapist, be like, help me, those kind of things. Rather than me doing all that stuff, what do? I go home and I binge watch Vikings on Netflix. Vikings is the bomb though, but binge watch Vikings on Netflix. They have a lot of seasons, right? So 4 days later, I come out, and here I am. I come out, and now I'm trying to go in and fix the problem and try to be, all this kind of stuff. So it's a cycle, right? So eventually I forgive myself, and I go through this, and I feel better, and then I start performing better, and until the next thing comes up where I go back through this cycle again. And so procrastination costs me a lot. It's cost me a lot of relationships. It's cost me a lot of working relationships as far as mentorships and things like that. It's cost me a lot of money, because I can't tell you how much money I would have. This would be a completely different background if I had taken advantage of everything that I could have, all the opportunities, and not blown it through self-sabotage and procrastination in my life. We're doing the vote right now: vulnerable, open, transparent, and encouraging. Because what I'm hoping is that by hearing my story, it'll make you kind of check yourself, so that you can start to see, what are you losing in life by continuing to allow yourself to go into maladaptive daydreaming? What are you losing? Another thing that comes with procrastination, and this is something that I didn't have on my list, but I'm going to come up because it goes along those same lines, is that maladaptive daydreaming, when you procrastinate, so let's say, for instance, I wake up that morning and something happened, it triggers me. So I have a meeting at 2. So I actually sit there or lay in the bed or stay at their house, and I go into daydreaming up until about 12 o'clock. Then I get up, I get dressed, and then I got to get to the meeting. When I walk into that meeting, how do I show up? I show up, fake it till you make it, imposter syndrome, not prepared, which affects my confidence, which makes me show up as an insecure. So now I'm in the meeting and I'm trying to do the whole fake it till you make it thing, but my confidence is struggling because that morning when I should have been preparing for the meeting, instead I was daydreaming. And so now I get here to this meeting and I'm struggling. So whenever they say things that trigger me, whenever they say things that make me feel incompetent, insecure, or something like that, or if they ask me questions, now mind you, they're not attacking me, but think about it like this: they ask me a question that I should have the answer to, but I don't. I have to do a presentation and I do a half-tail presentation because I wasn't prepared. And see, I'm one of those type people, and a lot of people that are maladaptive daydreaming, I believe this about you, because but I believe that some of the gifts for people that suffer with maladaptive daydreaming are creativity and resourcefulness. I really truly believe that, because with a resourceful person or a brilliant, no, resourceful isn't the right word, creativity, and I would say there's a certain type of brilliance within us. Because I love Hollywood. I mean, Hollywood is struggling. They need some scripts and stuff. They just need to get us all in a room. We can help you, okay? Because some of the stories in my head are so elaborate that it's crazy. And so, but I say that to say that we have this level of brilliance. So what happens is that we're really good at the whole fake it till you make it. I know I'm really good to the whole fake it till you make it, because I'm not prepared, but I can go in and my 60% is somebody else's 100%, as one of my online mentors says. And so it's so interesting how now I'm in this point and I'm able to go in, so I'm able to get by, and then God's grace kicks in, and so he graces you. Sometimes I think God's grace for me has shown up in a lot of times of me being graced so that I did not have to deal with the ridicule that I should have. You know, if I failed, it didn't hurt as much as it should have, because he kind of cushioned me a little bit, but he stopped doing that. The more healing I got, the more he started doing it, because he's like, no, I need you to show up better. It's time for you to grow so you can show up better. But anyway, that's a side note. So it's so funny because all this stuff is intertwined. So your maladaptive daydreaming, your negative coping mechanism, alcoholism, eating wrong, making you gain all this weight because you're emotionally eating, you're shopping, so you're broke, you're in all this debt, you know, you're watching pornography, so now you can't connect with your spouse, you feel guilty all the time, all this kind of stuff. So you're dealing with all these different things. So now what happens? You create the act of the negative coping mechanism. You do whatever it is you do. Then what happens is that there's always a level of guilt and shame with it. That's what the enemy has to do to keep us bound and to keep us not performing to our best. So now there's a level of guilt and shame that comes with that, right? And so now you're in guilt and shame. So what does that do? That makes you feel like a horrible person. I'm not worth anything. I'm awful. No one loves me. There's nothing I can, you know, I can't do anything right. You know, I'm incompetent. I'm insecure. I have social anxiety. You go through all of this stuff. And then what that does is that turns into depression. Now you feel horrible about yourself. So now you just want to stay home. You want to isolate. My life will never get better. I can never do anything. And then it goes into the anxiety. So when you do interact with people, now you feel anxious when they ask you stuff, because I've already labeled myself as a failure, right? So now when you ask me for something, I feel like a failure, so I can't perform. So I'm afraid. So now I'm having an anxiety attack because you gave me an opportunity. And so you see how it all goes in, and it all goes into this cycle. And the cycle is meant to destroy you. The Bible says that the enemy, the thief, has come to kill, steal, and destroy. And that is the purpose of it. The purpose of it is to be able to destroy you, to get you to the point where you don't want to live, where you're isolated, where you're by yourself. Because see, when you're by yourself, guess what the enemy gets to do? He gets to sit up and whisper in your ear and tell you all these negative things about yourself. And because there's no one there that loves you that can refute it, you start believing it. It starts becoming your truth. You start thinking, oh, I can't get out of this. Oh, this is the depression. It's just who I am. Oh, I have anxiety. Everything, I just have anxiety. It's going to happen. You start believing, you start losing your hope. And it's a cycle. Okay. I just wanted to kind of share that because that was a part of my experience, but I know I've worked with people, I counsel people, and we're going through all of these different things, and it's a cycle. Regardless of what your negative coping mechanism is, it's a cycle. And the way that you break that cycle, is by making a choice to start to look at how you think, look at how you treat yourself, look at the actions that you're taking, and really begin to choose to live, choose to do what you need to do to be able to live on a better basis. And these are some of the things we're talking about. The first step, I believe, is to go and talk to somebody. Speak to a counselor, speak to a therapist, speak to someone that you trust and that you love, that's a safe place that you can talk to, that can help you begin to deal with some of the stuff in your head. Something that one of my mentors says that he got from, I think it was Albert Einstein, was that you can't use the same mind, and I'm ripping this apart. You can't use the same mind that started the problem to fix the problem. Does that make sense? So if in my mind, I came up with the thought that I am a horrible person, right? How am I going to make my same mind change my mind about me being a horrible person? It's going to take something else, an outside influence, a different perspective, a different mind that's going to come in and say, now, wait a minute. No, you're not. You're actually a great person, to kind of counteract that thought and then help me to get to the point where I can believe it and begin to make that into my truth. So that's another way. So that's a long way to say it, but that's another way that procrastination got me, is because it really hurt my confidence, because it kept making me, as a professional, as a student, as a mother, as a friend, to show up wrong, forgetting people's birthdays, getting to the party and my energy level is here and they're up here, you know, not being that friend that calls to check up on you and stuff. I'm busy. I'm in my brain. I don't have time to call you. You know, just really. Sorry, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't in my mindset because I was in such a different place. And so that's another reason. I'm gonna have to make this into 2 videos. This is so sad. Can I have a video less than 20 minutes? I mean, really. Missed opportunities. I think we kind of already talked about that, but that comes along with, you have the opportunity, but you don't feel qualified for it. You don't take it, or you just straight up miss it because you're distracted. Cycles of guilt and shame. We already talked about, oh, I did good. I kind of put all that together. Increased depression and anxiety. Okay, got that one. Okay. Loss of time and money and fun. Okay. So let me give you this really interesting example. I would have days where I would wake up and I would say, oh, today I'm going to do this. I'm going to go run these errands. I'm going to hang out with my friend. We're going to go to lunch. We're going to go shopping. I'm going to do this. I'm going to clean the house. I'm going to, do all these things. I have a whole list. And I sit there and get into a dream and start thinking. Next thing I know, this is 7 o'clock in the morning. Next thing I know, it's 9 o'clock at night. I'm still in my bed clothes. I'm mad. I like just totally and completely just out there. I ordered food, spent extra money, and I missed the whole day. Beautiful day, sunny outside, gorgeous outside. And that's a whole day of my life gone, doing nothing. Gone. And so, but then in that same, so I called a friend and canceled. So I missed the quality time with them. I If that's the case, I didn't run the errand. So guess what? I got to do it again another day. I didn't get to connect with the people I was supposed to connect with. A lot of times those things would happen to me if there was some kind of social event that was coming up, like a party. Yeah, if that's you, let me know in the comments, right? So there's a party coming up. I don't know why I sit here and mess with my hair like this. But anyway, there's a party that night. I got invited to the party. I want to go, but then the rest of me is like, I don't want to go to that, right? Because I don't want to be around people, because once again, isolation is huge. And so I'm just like, I don't want to go to that. So I just sit there and sabotage. Because if I get myself to get into a daydream, or if I check out and watch TV all day, then right, and the party starts at 6, I'm still gonna be sitting in my bed close at 5:15. I ain't gonna go into that party. Or if I go, I'm gonna go late. And then when I get there, I'm walking in there with this jacket of guilt and shame on. Of I wasted my whole day. I thought these crazy thoughts, all this kind of stuff. So I'm not able to show up as the amazing, incredibly beautiful, effervescent person that I am. I'm not able to show up that way because I'm coming in carrying all this stuff with me. So, and money. Okay, you lose money from maladaptive daydreaming, because guess what? If you're daydreaming, you're not selling. You're not, if you have your own business, you're not selling. If you're daydreaming, you're not doing your side hustle. If you're daydreaming, you're ordering food in, you're doing all these different things. You might skip work. You might do these things. So you're losing money. You're losing some of the opportunities that could actually help you to build wealth and build legacy and to get the things that you want. The funny part is that, oh my gosh, so you know, I be doing stuff. I know the word. I just don't know where it is. Okay, so sorry. Okay, so there's a verse in Proverbs about how it says something along the lines of a sluggish man or foolish man sits around and dreams about what they want, but never gets it. But a wise man or righteous man dreams about what they want, and then they go out and take action. They get the wealth. So people that take action actually get something out of life. So you lose whenever you just sit around and dream about it. And the funny part is that what you're dreaming about is what you want. So if you were actually working for it, you could probably get what it was that you wanted. I have to tell you, I'm in my new apartment right now, and it's like my little bookshelf. It's cute, ain't it? I know. So I'm in my new apartment right now, and I can tell you that I've lived a very transient life for a good reason. I've been traveling to other countries and in different states and stuff for the last few years of my life. But finally, I said I want to put down roots. So one of my dreams over this time was I just wanted to have my own place, because I was traveling. I was staying in Airbnbs. I'm staying in hotels. You know, all this kind of stuff. And so I was like, I want to have my own place. I want to have an empty place where I can fill it up with my own furniture, my own personality, all this kind of stuff. And so I can't tell you how many hours I have spent, how many days I have spent daydreaming about having my own place and how I would decorate it. When I tell you, you can daydream about, it can be all just like regular daydreams, but maladaptive daydreams is when you go deep. So you guys might have been daydreaming about having your own place too, but maybe for a couple hours. I probably put in a good week and a half on this bad boy. I'm learning the difference. I'm studying now the difference between a daydream, a vision, and kind of, they say, what, visualization, that kind of stuff. Like, I'm trying to study the difference between that, but then also studying it from my perspective of someone that struggled with this. You're not gonna fool me. This is like those kind of people that say, oh yeah, come to the bar and get a Coke if you've been an alcoholic. No, we're gonna drink this Coke out here on this patio. We're not going to the bar, like this, you know, that kind of thing. And so I'm trying to figure out what the difference is so that I can know how to be able to use my brilliant imagination and creativity in a positive way. So I got all off, but anyway, that's what that Bible verse says, kind of. And so I'll put it in the comments. Okay, let me see. I need to go fast. I'm trying to get this done. Let's see. The last one is, oh, I already talked about my memory. And I already talked about Dr. Amen. I was trying to do a shameless plug. So if you guys know Dr. Amen, or Dr. Amen, you watch this video, I want to be able to come get a brain scan. And I'm gonna write a book about it so we can go in together on this, because you know, your brain scans ain't cheap, brother. So we need to work together to do some research. You and I, doctor to doctor. Okay, so I think that was about it, about as far as how it affected my life. I know that there are more ways, but I can tell you that now, am I 100% there? I'm far from it. it's something that's so ingrained in me that sometimes I catch myself and I'm like, what am I thinking about? What did I just think about for the last 30 minutes? I don't know. Mine just all over the place. But Joyce Meyer talks about it. She talks about a wandering mind. And that's in the book Battlefield of Her Mind, which is a great read, by the way. Please read that book. It's really, really, it really, really helps. But she talks about the wandering mind. Because what I have found is that when you start looking for healing, people are always looking at what you want to stop doing. I want to stop smoking. I want to stop drinking. I want to stop watching porn, all this kind of stuff. But what we have to do is we have to say, okay, these are the things that I want to take out of my life, but these are the things I want to put into my life. Think about it like this. If you have so let's look at this bottle here, this bottle of water. So this bottle of water represents 20 years of what's been going on in my mind, right? And let's say if it was filled to capacity. So then I say, okay, I want to be healed. So I take and pour out all that water, right? And I pour it out. Well, what does it leave? It leaves an empty vessel. I have to put something in it that's going to help me to live life better. If I don't, then I just still have an empty vessel. Or worse, like the Bible says, a man cast out spirits out of his house and they go into the desert, go into a dry place. He cleans up the house, he sweeps the floors, everything is neat and clean. And when that spirit comes back, it sees the place clean and comes back and brings 7 other spirits with it. That's what one of the things says in the word. But what that comes in our counseling and when we would do our retreats and stuff, what we learned about that was simply this, is that whenever you get rid of something you've been struggling with, whenever you start healing from something you've been struggling with, then what you have to do is you have to replace that with something positive or something good that can take up that space. So if I get rid of the enemy, then I need to replace that with God. I need to replace that with love. If I get rid of hatred, then I need to replace that with love and kindness, those kind of things. What are you going to replace it with? And so for me, I think that and it's so funny, I don't even know how I got here, but for me, I think that that has been a pivotal part of this part of healing. See, before I was just I felt so bad about the things I was doing. I was just trying to get rid of the stuff. I wasn't thinking about how am I going to build and grow myself so that I don't need it anymore. And now that I've started putting things in my life that help me to not need it anymore, it's been more and more of a blessing. And so that's what helped me to be able to grow in that area. And I have to tell you, I don't know how long this video is. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to make my closing statement. I'm like a preacher. This is my 3rd close. So I'm going to make one more close. And then what I'll do is in part 4 of this, then I'm going to start going into some of the tips that I've gotten over the years that have helped me with maladaptive daydreaming. Actually, I'm going to do a series of small things, but I wanted to get this one off my chest first because I haven't seen these as somebody reflecting back and being able to say, this is how this affected me. But what I would say to you is that if you are struggling with maladaptive daydreaming, if you see some of these things happening in your life, I want you to know, don't let go of hope. You're in the right place. Begin to look for hope in your own life. Begin to do the things that you need to do the self-work. Look at the next videos that I have that kind of are really practical things that you can do that are going to be able to help you with the maladaptive daydreaming. But just know, I want you to start thinking about, and this is any kind of negative coping mechanisms you have. So all the ones I've named them several times, and these are just what I name them. So once again, I'm not a counselor, I'm not a therapist, but in my mind, this is what some of them are. Because these are the things that I see people struggling with, that are those habits, those iniquities that keep coming back. You keep struggling with it. It's not a one and done. Oh, I did this, oops, and then you move on and you never do it again. It's something that you keep struggling with, that you want to quit, but you can't, that sometimes you don't want to quit, but you need to, those kind of things, and you can't seem to walk away. That's what I categorize as this. And so one things that I would like for you to do for just after watching this video is, one, just take a moment and think about, where did it start and why did it start? What triggered you? What triggered you to either start doing it, or what triggered you to where you got to the point where something happened and it made you run to that? Okay? Because see, there's a difference between you take a drink of beer or something like that, and you're like, oh, okay, that's good. I'm having fun. I'm having a party. And the difference between somebody hurt my feelings, I need a drink. I had a stressful day at work, I need a drink. You know what I'm saying? My man left me, my woman left me, I need a drink. Those are different things. You see how that's a trigger? Because this is the problem, this is the solution that you come up with. And so whenever you start working with that problem solution, when you start working with those particular triggers, that's when you start getting into those negative coping mechanisms, because there are other ways. And we're going to have a whole video, because I just learned about them. So I'm really excited about sharing them with you, about positive coping mechanisms, because I didn't know they existed. I'm going to be honest with you. I was just like, oh, this is just everybody trying to get over their stuff. Like, I didn't know that was good. And so we're gonna do a whole video on positive coping mechanisms, and so hopefully that'll be able to help. But think about when did it start, and then think about what it's cost you. Sometimes we have to look back and say, what has this cost me? So if I were to do the math, and if I were to say I lost 10, let's do an average, 7 days a month for 25 years. I'm not doing the math right now. No. But if I looked at that, how much time has this cost me? Okay, I feel like we need to do the math. That's gonna make the point. See, I ain't even gonna stop and give you a look like, I'm gonna be able to tell you this number and be like, I made my point. Okay, we gonna be effective. Okay, hold on 1 second. Okay, so yes, I have to pull out the calculator. And all you people out there can do math in your head. Yeah, okay, whatever. Okay, so I can't. I took algebra 8 times. You guys have to watch my video. I'll tell you about that. Okay, so 12 months times 7 times, what did I say, 25 years? 25 years, and that's low ball in it. That is, wait a minute. That's not right. 7 days times, I slept. So let's give it a 12-hour day. No, that's not enough though, because I'll go in deep though. We're gonna give it a 15-hour day. So 7 days times 15 hours, that's 105. And then we're gonna multiply that by 12 months. 105. I don't trust calculators. I like Excel. Excel is the bomb. Okay, so that's I have a friend that's a math person. They have a fit watch this video. They'll be like, don't you ever do that on the internet again. This is 2 master's degrees right here, baby. Okay. All right, it was getting late. I'm getting silly. Okay, so where are we? Okay, so we're at 1,260 per year. And then we're going to multiply that by 25 years. This is really not funny. That is 31,500 hours of my life that have been estimated. And I do think that's a low ball, but that's estimated that I have lost for maladaptive daydreaming. It's not a proud number for me. Okay, I don't want you to lose that many. I don't want you to lose that many for any type of coping mechanism. I don't want you to spend that many hours daydreaming, watching porn, checking out Netflix, binge watching television, playing video games. I don't want you to spend the equivalent of that spending money out shopping because you're trying to hide your emotions and putting yourself in debt, or eating and getting yourself overweight and unhealthy. I don't want you to experience that. I don't want you, that's 31,500 hours that I didn't spend engaged in my life, being creative, building wealth, loving people, engaging with people, getting closer to my God, making a difference serving, having fun, you know, having like real fun. That's a lot of time to lose. And I want you to lose that. So in the next video, we're going to talk about some ways that, practical ways that I've gotten to be able to deal with negative coping mechanisms and maladaptive daydreaming. This is the We Choose to Live blog, and where we face our struggles, we face our time lost. We practice self-love, because we're going to go cry real quick and then come back and do the next video. But forgive ourselves and forgive myself, and believe that I serve a God that can restore everything that I gave away and that was stolen from me. And where we engage in life together. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for allowing me to share, and thank you for watching this long video. I promise they're going to get shorter. I promise. All right. Love, love, love you. Have a good night.